Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back for another episode, and I'm absolutely thrilled today to have with me immediate past president Jeff Wendling. First of all, Jeff, thank you for taking the time to visit with us today.
I do. Thank you.
Jeff, can you tell us how you got involved initially with Rotary?
Sure. In 2008, I was division commander of the police department, and I had an occasion to go with another past president, Jack Pratt, and also ultimately was the mayor of Kerrville in 2012. And I said, Jack, take me to a Rotary meeting, because he used to be the president of Rotary in Sugar Land, south of Houston. And we went. And at that time, we had our lunch meetings at the Inn of the Hills. We had about 170 members at that time in Kerrville Rotary, Noon Rotary. We'd have about 80 or 90 at lunch. It was awesome. And just everybody in town was in the room. It was great. Jack took me during the Christmas time, and they were doing different celebrations and skits and other things, and just were funny and engaging and kind of a humble group, just having a good time. And that got me so enamored with the cadre. And I said, Jack, will you sponsor me? He said, sure. So that's when I joined, was 2008. So I'm coming up on 17 years here. And it's been a great experience. I know you probably want to ask me questions about it, but the bottom line is this Noon Rotary Club, we're down to about 54 people at a meeting, but we're still doing about 22 events a year as a member. And it's great. I got nothing but good things to say about Noon Rotary. It's fun. Good people.
As I mentioned, you're immediate past president.
Yep.
What got you on the leadership track?
I've been on the board. Diane, when she was president, she had asked me about getting in the leadership track when I was still working in the police department. And I said, I really don't think I'm going to have time for that. But thank you for asking me. And they put me on the board, and I'd been on the board a couple of times. And then as I retired and did different things, Jeff Harris had asked me if I want to get in the lineup, because it's 3 positions, 3-year commitment, that kind of thing. It's what we do. I mean, I've been a chief since 1990, that kind of thing. So we're used to working with people and creating team and moving organizations forward as best we can and help things like that. Once again, it's a great club and some super members. And I told Jeff, I said, yeah, I said, I don't want to get involved to change the thing as much as to make sure that we have the support going forward. And that's what led me there. It's been, I was on the board, and then I got in the lineup and went through the 3 positions and became president.
When I asked you if you would do this, one of the things you said was a great phrase, which I think you said you saw yourself as president as a steward.
Yes.
Can you explain what you meant by that?
My objective when I was president, once again, wasn't to remake the organization. Oftentimes, us as organizational leaders, or in this case, chiefs, and of course, I worked for the federal government and did other things over there as a boss. You have to go in and kind of remake the landscape. Rotary didn't need me to really remake the landscape. I was there primarily as a steward, if you will, yes, and making sure we had the resources to do our 21 or 22 projects a year for all the right reasons. So that was my main motivator.
So what were some of the highlights for you as president?
Selfishly, every year is a First Responder Award Luncheon and also First Responder Golf Tournament. But we also do a lot of other things too. Nice for polio, where we raise money for the polio vaccine to be shared around the world where it's needed. And we do other fundraisers for other things and other activities. Or the walk on the river we do. Christy Vandenberg gave birth to that. We also have an impact club now, which used to be called a satellite club for those that don't want to come to a noon meeting but want to participate as a Rotarian and do different projects. Blue Santa is one of the projects that we've done for years at Noon Rotary during Christmas time, being able to raise funds and provide food and toys and everything for those in the community that maybe don't have the discretionary income to really buy what they would really like to buy, and we can help out with that. It's been a great program. Kerrville Police Department actually gave birth to that particular event years and years ago. And Ronnie Bach, who's now sold his RV dealership, if you will, there on Sidney Baker. Ronnie Bach, what an awesome man. Him and his whole family supported, it still does for that matter, but supported Blue Santa all those years and allowed us to use his property and for the distribution of the toys. And also later on, as Rotary got more involved, uh, doing the food distribution and things like that. So those are kind of the highlights. There's other things too, but it's a very holistic club in terms of its view on the things that it does, especially embracing youth. We support robotics at the high school is a good example. Marta Deffin, the previous president before me, and a Shriner executive, she brought that, and we've sustained that, and we're able to provide funding as well as they're nice enough to come out to have a meeting and show us all their goodies. And for us that didn't grow up with robots and computers and things like that. So Rotary provides a lot of different activities, whether you're older like me or younger or whatever it is. There's opportunities for everybody to pursue something that they enjoy and support, maybe become a leader of an event that they think is important to the community.
You mentioned a couple of things. One was your local law enforcement work. You also mentioned federal government work, but I wanted to ask you, what does the First Responders Luncheon mean for a local police department, a local fire department, a local responder? What do you think it means for that sort of recognition from the community?
Let's talk about the genesis of this activity by Rotary. When I got here in 2005, you kind of looked across the landscape, and one of the things you look for is an opportunity to say thank you to the troops, right? So heretofore, before we started our program, the VFW, local VFW, was good enough to recognize law enforcement and fire every year. Basically, took what they were doing, and I tried to do my best to enhance it and try to do more with it, if you will. Got some people to help me, and we put a luncheon together. But anytime you get an opportunity to say thank you to those, particularly in public safety, that so impact our quality of life, and the police department and the fire departments and Ingram PD and even the school district police, of course. But now today, we have the opportunity to say thank you. So we say thank you to volunteer fire, to the 2 police departments, sheriff's office, of course, and EMS as a breakout in that. Thank you. So I would hope that even though they may do some of their own recognition during the year, that Rotary adding an opportunity, because the chiefs make the decision about who is honored, and they make the presentation and read the citations. So it's all about them. We just provide the venue and the opportunity. One of the other things that we do, you didn't really ask this, but I mean, it joins. In 2016, I went to Dr. Avery and I asked for some help, and he was very gracious, as he's always been. And we started a training fund. And I haven't done quite as much with it the last couple of years because I've been involved in the radio project here for the county. But the bottom line is we have so many giving people in our community that oftentimes it's just about asking them for help that they may not have known that maybe we're trying to embark on a certain project, and just approaching them. And Dr. Avery, oh my gosh.
Who is Dr. Avery?
Chris Avery.
And he is?
He is the former chairman of Avery Artisan Jewelry.
James Avery?
James Avery.
Okay.
Yes, his dad. And he is a emergency room physician by education. And so he's part of our group of public safety. And Sir Chris, anyway, I wanted to mention it because it's heavy on my heart all the time, what he did and still does for us. And then we have a golf tournament, which we have every year. Jeff Harris was good enough to uh, get in there as a PTA professional and as a bank executive, but Jeff jumped in there and really helped that piece of our fundraising for first responders and really took it to new heights. And from that, we've been able to, we spend about 10 or 11,000 a year in training dollars. So we can help, and it's primarily for advanced training. It's not necessarily for basic training, although it has been, but that was not the first intent or the original intent. But we've morphed it as the need arose and people asked for help. So we've been pretty fortunate to be able to give a hand to some folks.
You mentioned the Impact Club.
Yep.
But I wanted to draw it to the local, or I should say, the Comfort Impact Club from the high school students.
It's not an impact club
Okay.
for the students. It's actually RILA, or I mean, the student group. They go to RILA for training. Sorry, but we have Tivy has a group. Comfort has a group. The young man that spoke last Wednesday.
Yes, that's what.
Yeah, Hunter, who's graduated early from Comfort, by the way, and it's already been accepted by at least 3 universities that I know of. So the youth groups, Christy Vandenberg and others, and Christy Shepard, our now president, has taken a really strong interest in that area. And they've worked very hard supporting those activities and maturing those activities, guidance and mentoring and things like that.
It also strikes me as a funnel to help bring some members to Rotary, and perhaps after they've either gone into the workforce or graduated from college.
We hope.
We hope. We're recording this in January 2025, but 2026 is a pretty big year for this club.
Yes.
Could you tell us why?
100th year anniversary in February of 2026. I asked today what the date in February was because I forgot. And as you can see from my notes, I don't have it down here, but at any rate, so we've started a committee. Greg Falden, one of our board members and a former West University Place Rotarian, Houston area, for those that are not aware. He is leading the charge, and we have a meeting tomorrow at 4, as a matter of fact. So we're discussing what elements will occur. We've taken all of our old information that we had as archives, and it's been organized courtesy of Rosa Lavender, who is a career teacher and also a journalist is probably the best word. Rosa, she's so awesome. She organized all this material, and it really created a master portfolio and profile of the club from day one, I guess, for the whole period. So she's going to produce 10-year blocks and as inserts to the community journal, and also make it available to Kerrville Daily Times so that the public can see who was involved in Kerrville Rotary and what events and activities and what they've accomplished through the years, those kind of things. Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. In fact, we just had a board meeting a little while ago, and one thing we're talking about is, do we do some type of fixed monument, if you will, or something that commemorates that 100-year? So anyway, it's gonna turn out really nice, I believe, the way that it's being discussed. So yeah, pretty exciting time.
One of my observations about the city of Kerrville, and I moved here in 2021, is there seems to be a very much of a public-private business partnership among the businessmen. And you mentioned Chris Avery, but certainly Peterson Hospital System, James Avery, HEB, et cetera. And we have citizens moving in to become mayor, rotating out of becoming mayor. There are business people in town. And Rotary seems to me to be a big part of that, because we have the city manager, we've had a mayor as members, and well, we obviously have business people, police chief, and school superintendents for both Ingram and Tivy, numerous people from Shriner. Would that be sort of consistent with what you've seen, or do you see it in a different way?
No, you and I don't differ on that. Like Brent Ringo and I are neighbors. The preceding Kerrville ISD superintendent was also a resident of our neighborhood, still owns his house. Good people. Brent went to West Point, played ball, got injured, got his doctorate at Texas A&M. It just goes on and on. I mean, it's amazing the people that this community has recruited. They had their major programs like that. Bobby Templeton, Dr. Templeton at Ingram. Oh my gosh, done such a great job. And so the other two superintendents. Yes, we've been very fortunate that Kerrville Noon Rotary has that kind of draw, and that people see the value in coming and sitting and visiting and having a meal and talking about what's going on. Because every Wednesday noon, we have informative speakers that provide to some information that they're not aware of, to others just a reminder because they're part of the mainstream. Yeah, it's exciting to see everybody walk in the door and, like I said, former mayors and attorneys and school superintendents and like Brenda Thompson, head of Dietert. And I mean, it just goes on and on. Yeah, I really enjoyed, for me, I spent so many years in the shadows until I rose in rank and was able to kind of be out in the world a little bit more. But I was never able to get involved in clubs like this. I was overseas for a long time too. But anyway, I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great experience.
I know you brought a lot of notes. Was there anything you wanted to highlight or talk about that we didn't get to today, Jeff?
No, I think the big thing was to kind of sensitize everybody to the 100th year. And there's going to be a fundraiser behind that. We also have our annual event fundraiser. We usually are needing about 53,000 net a year to run all our programs. We've been pretty frugal as budget stewards, opera funding, and the public has been great supporting us and giving up their hard-earned dollars to help these programs. And I can't thank you all enough for those that are listening. Last weekend was can't talk, FA, and Jeff Tellerico, Pastor Tellerico was there and was our Rotary representative as he is year on year. And we were able to fund with about $5,000 to help the kids. And that's exciting because what a great building block FFA is. It's a tremendous program. And we have a blood drive coming up for those inclined. And scholarship program, we're going to award $25,000 in scholarships again this year. We'll have one $5,000 scholarship for service above self. And then we'll do 10 $2,000 scholarship. So impact will be pretty substantial. That's a great program. It helps a lot of people. I'm real proud for that. It wasn't always that number. We've grown that number. And thank you to everybody that provides additional funding. We've also, this last year, Christy Vandenberg is going to beat me up because I can't remember the number, but we got, I think it was 6 grants from district. So that's probably $10,000 or $12,000 that we got in matching funds. So we provide $2,500. They give us $2,500, but allows us to expand our give. And several of these programs, particularly at $2,500 out of our block of funding and $2,500 from district. That's how that was made up. Different programs benefit from our district 5840 out of San Antonio, where that's where it's seated. And they've been very good about supporting, helping us with our
President-elect, our incoming president, who will be our president during our 100th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us a little bit about him?
Some, I guess. Trey Atkinson, who's actually Cecil R. Atkinson III, is, of course, Mr. Atkinson, Cecil Atkinson's son, and a man of varied interest, one of which is he's a pilot, flies jets and just got his commercial jet certification, just like my brother-in-law, uh, strangely enough. But he has multiple interests, wife, kids and everything, has twins. Great guy. And I went to Mr. Atkinson, of course, to Trey and said, would you be the president for that anniversary? And they were good enough to say yes. So really looking forward to that. It's a great opportunity to have a young executive like Trey following his dad's footsteps, of course, in the family business, if you will. I think they have 8 or 9 dealerships. And of course, they fly all over the place and visit, and their dealerships is part of their executive duties. Uh, but for Trey to find the time and the family name to be involved with a 100-year, we thought was going to be a really appropriate opportunity if they said yes, and they did. Great.
So let me end by asking this, Jeff. What would you say to the young business person, to middle-aged business person, or anyone else about why they should join the Kerrville Rotary Club?
For those of you that live in Kerrville, I'm stating the obvious, no doubt, but Rotary Club, like Lions, like Kiwanis, all the service clubs that are here and operational and moving forward, I think we're the largest and we have the most projects, the most funding, et cetera, et cetera. It's a great place to network, yes, but it's also a great place to make long-standing friends, depending on where you are in the development of your personal life, your social life, and your business life. And I would encourage everybody to either join our Impact Club, which now has 28 members, and that's an after 6 group that doesn't has made a decision not to meet at the noon venue at the Croc Center, but to have another group of Rotarians that operates a little differently than traditional noon. And it's a great thing. So get involved some way. You'll benefit personally and reasonably you'll benefit in your business. Come on.
Jeff, I wanted to thank you again for visiting with me and thank you again for your service to Rotary.
Thank you. Glad to. Appreciate the opportunity.